Good afternoon, YouTube, and welcome to Fantasy Forecast for Sunday, December 4th, 2016. I'm going to have the scores up here from yesterday. DraftKings was a win for 50-50s and on the edge for double ups. I checked a $5 double up and it was right on the edge. So some of them probably lost, some of them probably won. The score is always a little fluctuating. It was a full win for 50-50s on DK and a halfway win for double ups and higher. A little bit better on FanDuel, obviously. FanDuel came up at 288, 287.7. The real drag was Mirror Tick. The ones that didn't hit 5 times were above 4 times at least, so it made it work. 19%. Mirror Tick was 45% owned, guys. Wow. Okay, so let's go ahead and just move on to today's lineup. I'll start with DraftKings and I'll go through the positions on FanDuel. Westbrook at your point guard, Meeks at your shooting guard, Green at your small forward, Davis at your power forward, Biyombo for your center, Holiday for your guard position, Harris for your forward, and Robinson at your utility spot today. FanDuel, Westbrook and Teague at your point guard positions, Holiday and KCP at your shooting guard positions, Robinson and Green at your small forward, Davis and Harris at your power forward, and Biyombo for your center. Let me go ahead and go through it now. Okay, real fast to run down the main choices on today. Now, you're going to go into each slot on FanDuel and you're going to see you have 3 high dollar plays today. You guys have Anthony Davis, you guys have Russell Westbrook, and you guys have our man DeMarcus Cousins. Now, with 3 plays, you really can't fit them all in today. If you try, more power to you, but you can do the math on it just on your own. 12.6 plus Davis at 11 and some change. I mean, you're at like 24,000. Adding Cousins, you're at 35,000 in salary. You have 25,000 in salary left to fill 6 positions. Do the math, that's 4,000 a slot, just barely above minimum. So while it is technically possible to do it, I really don't know if that's going to be a winning GPP play today. So I would, or even a cash game. I think your choice today is to choose 2 of the 3 bigs. If maybe even less, and spread some more balance around. But I think 2 of the 3 is going to do it just fine for you today. And the choice is going to obviously be which 2 of the 3 do you take. So, that in mind, let's get on to the lineup today. Westbrook, that's one of my 2 bigs. I'm going to target the New Orleans OKC game and the high usage that they have. You can already tell who my other big's going to be. Chris Paul, I don't like it today against the Pacers, not at 9,100. Reggie Jackson, if he does come back, I don't think he's going to have a great scoring performance in his first game back. I think it will take at least 1 game for him to catch his breath and do what he needs to do to get back in the swing of things. So I'd be steering away, and if he plays, he might not. Holiday, still too expensive. You only buy $100. I said I start thinking about it 7,000, but he's still too expensive. That $100 matters today. D-Rose. Everyone's going to be remembering how he put up 40 or so before in the last game. Don't forget, Wade was out, so I think it's more of a 30-point game today. Ish Smith, probably right around his fantasy average, 25. Collison, again around 25, I'm expecting. Peyton, I don't think Peyton's going to have a good game. He's scoring dependent. I think he's more around a 22 today. Frazier, don't like Frazier today either. Don't ask me why, but I just don't. There's just something about that pick that I don't like today. He burns too often for a cash game. It's almost like you need Davis to get injured in the middle of the game for him to really meet and exceed value. And granted, that can happen, but then you're really gambling. Ty Lawson, you're at the point now where you don't need to do all that much with your salary to actually perform, so Ty Lawson's a GPP pick. And farther down the list, Garrett Temple gets minutes but does nothing with them. And that's about it at the point guard today. Let's move on to shooting guard. This is a horrible position today, guys, so I'm really, really happy they gave us at least 1 person we can lock in Holiday. Now, this is dependent on the Courtney Lee news. Courtney Lee game time decision, you see it right there. So that's a 7:30 start, just like, so the Pacers game isn't a 7:30 start. It's going to be tough to play these Pacers today. Anyways, if I get news on the Pacer game in time, we're essentially playing that Paul George is going to be out today. Now, if he plays, this is going to really hurt the lineup. Teague, not so much, but definitely Robinson. So be aware of that. Today is a play light day, guys. If I'm not made that clear on a 4-game slate yet, I'm going to make it clear right now. Today, you play half of what you normally play. It is too dicey with just 4 games. Stuckey and Lee. If you have to spend $3,900, fine, just take Stuckey. I mean, Crawford is 3-point shooting dependent, but he can hit some threes against the Pacers. I prefer Crawford as a pick here, not on DraftKings. DraftKings, I think he's 4,000. And at the very bottom, if you're going to go super cheap, Meeks is supposed to play 10, 12 points a game, 5-6 points in each half. Well, he got 17 points in his first game out for the season, so if that's going to be anything indicative of what we're used to seeing, well, 17 points on 3,500, there's one of your minimum plays that you're going to need if you're going to try to play all 3 big guys today. So I'd be looking at Meeks. Now, be warned, that is risky. It is a GPP pick. If he only plays 10 minutes, how is he really going to need a 3,500 value? So watch that carefully, guys. But I mean, if you're really going to play a GPP and gamble a little, well, there's a gambly, risky but high upside pick. I prefer KCP today because he's been steady over the last few games in terms of an increased performance, like 5-6 fantasy points above what he normally does. He seems like he's on a multi-day hot streak, so I'm going to keep riding that hot streak. I like KCP for my other position today. At the small forward today. Now, you got Paul George. Now, we are banking that he's going to be out because I don't think the news will come in time with a 9:30 start. If he plays, this lineup is going to hurt. But you're going to have to make a choice on these things today, all right? You got Carmelo Anthony in the small forward position. Melo can perform. He's obviously a high upside play today, but I think that you're going to realize, you might want to stay off of it a little. And 7,800 against Sacramento, I'm not sure that's an effective use of 7,800 in salary today. Same with Rudy Gay at 7,000. And then it drops off a cliff. Markieff Morris is just too shooting dependent. Glenn Robinson, I love it with George out, so I'll just lock him in and go. Same thing with Miles. They're both game time, but they both sit. I mean, hopefully we get one more nice Sunday without him and we can just roll in another cash win. Matt Barnes, scoring dependent, put up an incredible game in his last game out, like 40 fantasy points. This is one of those times where you don't point chase, though. He's not going to do 40 fantasy points again. Now, if he does even half of that, though, it's still a value. So you can consider Barnes just because of how high he went before, but if you're expecting 40 points out of him, don't. I'd pass Gordon and go straight to Robertson if you're in this level. Robertson's in the faster game, and he gets some minutes. If you have to go even cheaper, Solomon Hill, because of the game targeting over Mute. If you have to go even cheaper, I don't like taking Brown. Brown's only going to get his meat value if it's a blowout and he comes in on the second string. And that's about it for the small forward position today. Now I have Green in there. It's your other 3,800 or 3,700 spot. You could have taken Hill. You could have taken Mute. I'll take Green. At the 3,700 level, this is the final position I had to fill, and it really sucked because I didn't like any of the choices really. So this is glue that holds the lineup together, okay? You can really choose Hill as well if you want to. If you feel like that's a better swap, go for it. I'm going for about 16, 18 fantasy points, and that's all. If he meets that, I'm going to just thank you, and move on. Let's go through the power forward. Power forward today, Anthony Davis, obviously your top dollar choice, faster game. I love it. That's my top choice on the board today. I'll have him across the board. People will be off him a little bit too. They might say, I'm going to take Cousins instead today because they'll remember that he did bad against the Clippers. Just like I said, there's point chasing. There's also avoiding good points because somebody had a bad game. Just because you have one bad game, especially against a really good opponent, there's no reason that you should avoid that person the next time out. There's not. If you know he's going to get usage and you know he's going to see run, and they run Anthony Davis like no other, even in blowouts, then why not play it? You've got Griffin. I think Griffin's in a little bit of a better spot today, guys. I do. 44, 45 fantasy points, maybe somewhere around there. Porzingis, I think, will meet value today as well. Ibaka's scoring dependent, makes it a GPP pick. Same with Thad Young. Against the Clippers, though, I'd be passing on him today. Enes Kanter is intriguing at 4,900 because you're going to need some of these. I mean, power forward is almost a loaded slot today. Jones can hit three-pointers. Lauer had a great game in his last game out, and he does those with relative frequency. Power forward is somewhat loaded today, guys. There's no need to go cheap at power forward today, guys. Spend up, at least go mid-tier power forward. And I have Harris there. I think Harris is just fine for 30 points today. Now it's center. Now let's get to the elephant in the room. Cousins. The reason why I'm not playing Cousins is right here on this screen. I know he's playing the Knicks, and I know that they give up a god-awful amount of points to the center position. I know that. But I also know that Cousins played them a little while ago, didn't do so hot against them with the run. So, and sometimes teams just match up bad regardless of how they look in terms of DVP, defense versus position. So, Cousins is my pick that I'm not taking today. Let's go ahead and go through why. The game log here, let's find the New York game if we got it. We don't. Well, doesn't matter. 51, dropped off on the last one against Boston, Sacramento, New York, then 67, 62, 50, 52. In his last 5 games, he's only exceeded 60 points twice. He's been a solid 50, no problem, and I think that's where he's going to give you guys today, but there's no need to take 50 for 11,000. It just doesn't work for me today. So, especially if I can find another center on the position that will pay me more than 6 times value, which is how I'm evaluating the position today. So if I need 6 times value on that price, because that would be 65-point fantasy performance from Cousins, and that really is the ceiling, then where else am I going to go? I've got Drummond. Orlando has to drop a lot of boards for him to make value. Vooch, too overpriced now. Jordan, interesting against the Pacers, but pass, pricey. Because I know farther down, over Turner and Adams, I've got Biyombo. And Biyombo, if you look at his minute run, you look at what he's been pulling off, just take it to the bank. I think you're in line for a good 25 fantasy points tonight. And if you get 25 fantasy points out of a $4,300 position, 26, 27, you're at 6 times, maybe even 7 times value. And you've already done it. So I would take Biyombo today as a lock and load center choice. And you'll notice, I mean, there's a couple others here. I wouldn't go any cheaper than him at center. So I'm just going to skip that. But you'll notice when I back out of this lineup, how perfect it fits. 0 salary remaining. Westbrook, T, Holiday, KCP, Robinson, Green, Davis, Harris, and Biyombo. The only guy that you're really questioning is Green. Everything else has a decent rationale behind it, right? All right. So that explains the positions today. It's a little bit of a shorter video, guys. We only have a 4-game slate. I'm going to remind you, it is definitely a play light day today. You have to play light on these short slates. It's just bet half of your normal amounts, and you know, if I'm wrong and Cousins is the guy, and let's say both of the 2 big dollar plays here, Westbrook, for whatever reason, dies, and Anthony Davis dies, well, the whole lineup is dead. So, and I know we've been on a winning streak, but part of winning is keeping your money after you win. So I'm advising everyone, just play light today, okay? All right. I think that pretty much does it for fantasy forecast for today. Let's go ahead and go through your 2-minute roundup. Now, starting at DraftKings, today's optimal cash game lineups. Russell Westbrook at your point guard, Meeks at your shooting guard, and you have Meeks because you need a really cheap play, and I'm just hoping here it's like it's glue, like Green on the other lineup. 15 points to hold the lineup together. Actually, we have Green on this one too, so we have double glue on this lineup. This is a reason to definitely play light. DraftKings is a tougher slate to do. You could even, kill Westbrook and go Cousins possibly, because on this site he uses 26, 27% of your salary cap, and Cousins isn't that heavy of a hit. You'd be able to upgrade both of these slots. And I've gone through the positions, you can see where to upgrade already. Davis at your power forward, center Biyombo, guard Holiday, locked today. Harris at your forward position, assuming Courtney Lee doesn't play. And Robinson at your utility. And then that's also assuming that Paul George doesn't play. We're going to have to make the pacer assumption. You can look for the news on Courtney Lee. That will come in time before lock. And on FanDuel, Westbrook and Teague at your point guard positions. If you get news that Paul George is playing before lock, then you can pull him. I don't think we're going to get the news in time though, guys. Holiday and KCP at your shooting guard positions. You should get the news on Holiday in time, so just run Holiday if you find out that Courtney Lee is missing again. And if he isn't missing, if Courtney Lee is playing, pull Holiday immediately, and I'll post an updated lineup. KCP, Robinson and Green at your small forward, Davis and Harris at your power forward positions, and Biyombo for your center. Thank you guys so much for watching Fantasy Forecast. Give a big thumbs up to the lineup if you liked it, thumb it down if you didn't like it, and if you have questions or anything, go ahead and just leave a comment down below. I respond to comments once a day, and if you're not following on Twitter for those last minute lineup updates, if I don't have time to post an update video, I post lineup updates on Twitter. You'll find the link in the description on this video. Just go ahead and click and follow me, and you'll get notifications on when I post new videos, and you'll also get any updated lineups that I run. Okay, that's it for Fantasy Forecast for today. If you haven't done so yet, please subscribe. It helps support this free channel, and I'll keep doing videos for you guys as long as you guys keep subscribing. Thanks again so much for watching Fantasy Forecast. Go on out there and go win some big money today.